Hey everybody, what is going on? We are doing a quick recap video of the 2024 Calgary Horrorcon. It was last weekend. I just wanted to go over sort of how things went, how the layout was, who we got to meet, who we got autographs from, etc. So let's get into it. Okay, so this year's Calgary Horrorcon was a blast as usual, a lot of fun, some solid star power. I took my daughter this time, and rather than like last year, I went down with a friend of mine on the Friday and we did the VIP thing, went to the party and everything. That was super fun. He wasn't available this year, things weren't lining up, and my daughter decided she wanted to come, so I took my daughter on this Saturday. We drove down early in the morning and spent a few hours there, checked everything out, got a few autographs, and we went back home. So this year's experience was great, like I said, as usual. Lots of great stuff, lots of collectibles as usual. We had all sorts of figures and stuff were there, all sorts of DVDs and VHS movies and stuff. Good selection from a lot of vendors. Just tons of collectibles, and everything from like NECA stuff to custom done pieces of art, as well as everything you can think of: t-shirts, coffee mugs, the posters, the little posters like the ones I have that I got last year here, like Creepshow and Scream and all that. I was thinking about getting a few more, but wall space is pretty tight down here in this little area, so it was kind of tough. But really, I wanted to concentrate the most on getting a few of the Evil Dead autographs that I was looking for. So we basically checked out all three of their big rooms, all the collectibles and stuff. They had, of course, some of the cast of Thanksgiving that was there. I was tempted to get their autographs or pictures and stuff too, but I never did do it. I decided to save some money, and at the end of the day, I was thinking, well, most of the cast is pretty young, at least closer to my age, so I'm hoping to maybe spot them at another convention sometime, and hopefully I can get maybe a picture or an autograph then. Just because everything adds up, it gets really expensive this time of year. And, I just fixed my car in April after going to the Calgary Expo, or at least trying to. I actually borrowed my sister's car to go down there, which we did again this time too. Actually, it's just way better on fuel, and she was nice enough to lend it to me, so that was cool. But back in April, I did need a new radiator, so I had to drop a lot of money on that. So money was tight. So I just sort of went for a few of the ones I really wanted to have. Like I had mentioned that Alyssa Sutherland was coming. She was there as well, and I wanted to get my steelbook signed, which I did, and I'll get into that in a minute. As well as Cassie DePaiva was there. She is the one who played Bobby Joe in Evil Dead 2. I wanted to get her autograph, so I was able to meet her as well, so that was cool. So we checked out those other areas, saw a lot of the stars and stuff. It was really cool. And I didn't really see where they had the Evil Dead stars. I really wasn't sure. So once we went through those three main areas, we went into the stairway area where they had some autographs and stuff before, upstairs and down. And it looked like they had everything set up downstairs this time. So we went down there, and it wasn't too busy. There was there's a big sort of a horseshoe shaped hallway in between this giant room that was used for panels and stuff in the past, but they had this room set up sort of like some of the ones upstairs this time, and that's where they had a lot of the Evil Dead stars. So you had the couple of stars from Ash vs. Evil Dead there, and of course Cassie and Alyssa were all down there. So we got down there and we saw little signs where the lineup was for Alyssa and everybody, right? So we just followed the signs and never did see a lineup. We went all the way around and got to an entranceway of a doorway on the other side of the room where there was a couple people standing there, it looked like, but they didn't really say anything to us, and we just slowly walked in the room, and we had to wander around at, you know, some of the vendors that were in there, and we got to the far corner, sort of where the Ash vs. Evil Dead area was set up. Next to that was Cassie at the Evil Dead 2, you know, table, and then next to Cassie was Alyssa. So we got pretty much all the way around the rooms to just before the Ash vs. Evil Dead sort of line. There may have been maybe 20 people between them all the way to Alyssa. And everybody was, you know, sort of busy, but it wasn't hectic or crowded or nuts at all. Relatively short little line. So we stopped at the back of the line, and I started getting my gear out to get it autographed. And there was some attendant, I guess, that was, you know, a volunteer there, or was letting everybody know what was going on. And she had said to us that we had to go over to the far door that we had just come through, not, you know, 5 minutes ago, and wait for the two people that we walked right by and smiled at when we came in, who said nothing to us, and they'll let us know when we can get in line. So that was a little weird, especially coming off of the Calgary Expo, which was, you know, madness with Scream. Like I said, we were in the lineup for Matthew Lillard for 3 hours, you know, either standing or sitting on the floor, just wall to wall people. So that was crazy. I totally understood that. But this little line, I was really surprised why they were doing that. It was so bizarre. So we had to go back out the main door and walk all the way around the hallway again, which again had no one in it. And we got to the doorway again, and now there were 2 people in front of us. And these were 2 individuals that we were sort of following around upstairs as well, that are now in front of us. And they were waiting to get in. So then I saw another gentleman who was in there and talking to them, saying, "Oh, you have to line up out there? Well, geez, I've been in here for a while, and do I have to go all the way back around?" And I'm like trying to say to him, "Yeah, it's same with us, dude. You know." Anyway, he got to go back out the same door and get in line behind us. So not a minute or 2 later, there must have been 15 people behind us in the lineups. It was really strange. We hit this lull, and we're told to go outside when there was no lineup. So that was a little weird, a little off-putting. I was like, huh? So things were a little more difficult for the lineup process and the rest of it. I thought that was a little strange, but needless to say, we just waited for our chance, and I was originally thinking maybe I'll have the 2 Stars of Ash vs. Evil Dead sign my Evil Dead Groovy collection that I had Sam Raimi sign a little over a year and a half ago when we met him at the Expo. That would be the 2023 Expo. Anyhow, we were going to do that, or I was thinking about it anyway, but see, I'm a guy, I haven't seen any Ash vs. Evil Dead TV series at all. I know it's in the Groovy collection. I'm meaning to watch it. I definitely will be. But it's something that I never did. I always just watched the films. So I didn't really know them very well, but I thought it'd be a great opportunity to get it signed because it does have the collection in there as well. So, but by the time we got up to the lineup and everything, and I'm thinking about the price of everything, I thought, you know, okay, when they asked who I was waiting to get an autograph from, and I said, well, Cassie, and I said Alyssa, and of course Cassie, and they said, oh, Cassie, then you can just go line up right now. Because she didn't have a big lineup at the time, right? She only had, I think, 1 person she was talking to, and there was no one there. But she was right next to Alyssa, and right in between, you know, the Ash vs. Evil Dead stars. So we just went over there and got in the lineup. And and they had said too, when you're done, when you see Cassie, just you can get in Alyssa's lineup because it's just following it, right? And I thought, oh, okay, that's kind of what the plan was, only I probably would have started at Ash vs. Evil Dead had I not had to get the whole runaround and get a lot of time to think about responsibly spending my money. But whatever, it worked out fine. You know, I went over, we met Cassie, and I noticed her, she signed Cassie Wesley, because I guess that's her title is Cassie Wesley DePeva, I believe it's pronounced. And she signs it Cassie Wesley. I'm sure the DePevas may be there because that was the credit in Evil Dead 2. Maybe she doesn't have the name anymore. I'm really not sure. But that's how she signed it. We had a great conversation with her because we had quite a bit of time. So she was sort of telling us, you know, how much fun it was on the set, and you know, doing conventions with Dan Hicks, who played Jake. He unfortunately passed away about a year and a half ago, but she said he was so much fun to be with, because a lot of the conventions he'd get up, be on Bobby Joe. So he used to have a blast with that. So it was great talking to her. She's super, super nice. She has that wonderful Southern accent in the film. So it's a genuine Cassie. But yeah, she was a blast to meet. I regret not getting a photo with her. I think I was just so nervous and mumbling over my words. I didn't think of it fast enough. You know, it was something I wish I would have done. Sort of like Lou Diamond Phillips when we met him at the expo back in April. I wish I would have got a picture with him. So a little disappointed I missed that opportunity. But we were just rambling and talking, and, you know, and it was nice to be able to talk to someone like that on a, you know, just regular level and stuff. She was really cool. So she signed the front of the Groovy collection I have here. As you can see, she is silver right here in the bottom, much like Sam Raimi did. So you see Sam Raimi on top, and on the other side he drew this little ghost and everything over next to Bruce's face. And Cassie wrote here in the corner, and she signed it Cassie Wesley. She did not use the DePaven name that is credited in the Evil Dead 2 film. It's her full name, so she went with Cassie Wesley, and she wrote Bobby Joe underneath it, and she put, "I hope you rock down there." So that's a really cool quote. Really like that. That's awesome. Again, I wish I would have got a picture with her, because she was awesome to meet, and yeah, I was just a little bit on the nervous side, I guess, and we were, you know, just trying to move along. Alyssa's line was literally connected, and while we were in her line for Alyssa, after I'd spoken with Cassie, we were still talking a little bit, because I was just kind of right by her, and she didn't have anybody right there right away, so we got another minute or two. Then another person came over, and we went along our way, and we went to meet the lovely Alyssa Sutherland. And holy cow, what an experience that was. That was kind of eye-opening, because first I didn't realize she had an accent, you know, like I had no idea. So that was kind of cool listening to that. I was like, wow, she really nailed the American accent for that film. And the other thing was, when I first saw Evil Dead Rise, and this is the first thing I saw her in, I know she was in like Vikings and a few other projects. I had just never seen her before. But the second I laid eyes on her, I was like, wow, she has these amazing cheekbones, right? And she looks very tall. So immediately I'm like, she must be a model, you know, that turned actor, actress, you know, however you say it. So it was cool meeting her, and yes, she is very tall. Like, I was really taken aback by that. I assumed she was probably pushing 6 feet just by the way she looks, and I think she's listed a lot of places as like 5'11", but I'm just about 6'2". I mean, flat-footed, the last time I was measured, I think I was 6'1" and like 3/4. I was more than 6'1 and a half. I'm really close to 6'2", like just bare feet. And I'm standing next to her, and she is my height. As you can see in this picture here with my daughter and I and her, she is pretty much level with me. So I didn't check out her footwear. I was too starstruck by the whole thing, and trying not to mumble and jarble my words up. But yeah, it was great meeting her. She's just a sweetheart of a person, very, very kind, very confident the way she was talking, you know, and she was just, you know, no nonsense. I don't think she had any makeup on, like really chill. But super sweet person, and she put a quote on my steelbook for us. I was so jumbled when she said, you want me to put a quote on there? And I was thinking, yeah, sure. And I'm just, of course I drew a blank, because that's what happens when you meet people like that. Of course, your brain just goes elsewhere and it ceases to function properly. But she wrote this awesome message on the steelbook here, and it is, of course, the amazing quote, "Mummies with the maggots now." And then she put a best wishes on it as well, and wrote Ellie underneath it. Very, very cool. So really glad I got that signed. A friend of mine who was there as well, my friend Michael, I didn't get to see him when he was there. Like, I saw him once when I was on the main floor when I came in, and there was a lot of people in the way, and he was talking with somebody, so I couldn't go over and say hi right then and there, and I never really saw him again after that. But I noticed he posted on Instagram his autograph as well, and she wrote the same thing, you know, "Mummy's with the maggots now and best wishes." So very cool. She was a blast to meet, so we were really happy we got to meet her and get that picture, even though it's not the greatest picture I've ever had of myself, I would say, but still very cool to meet her. And yeah, she's a tall drink of water. I would say she's probably more like 6'1" easily. Like, she is tall. But it was very cool to meet her. It would have been cool to spend a little bit more time there and do some cosplaying and stuff too. I did end up taking my Scream 6 setup, which I did a couple of years ago with my 1996 Scream, the original Scream cosplay as well. I did bring that, but I never ended up getting in the outfit. It was a little more rushed there, and I didn't really want to throw on all the gear that day and try to get some pictures and whatnot. But this year it was a little bit different. Like, just going with my daughter, I was thinking, well, maybe I could take some shots in front of the hotel, because they always have it decorated really nice. They have, you know, the Horrorcon, they got like a sign up there, and they have the roof decorated with all sorts of weird stuff. But when we got there Saturday morning, there was nothing. There was nothing to even indicate that a convention was even going on, to be honest with you. They always park their Horrorcon hearses out front, and they couldn't park them right in front of the doors or the lobby area this time. They had them way over to the side in the parking lot, so you didn't really notice them. So that was a little bit different this year. I was kind of surprised by that, because I thought, well, okay, maybe I'll just throw the cosplay on and we'll take some shots outside. But ultimately, we didn't end up doing it. It was just there. I didn't see a lot of other cosplayers there either, so you felt kind of alone with that a little bit. So I wasn't really inspired to try it. I mean, it's different if you go with a bunch of people that are going to do it, or you have something planned, or you have a lot more time, and we just didn't have that this year. So unfortunately, I didn't do any cosplaying there, which would have been fun, like I said, but it just the way things worked out, it wasn't the best time for it. So maybe next year we'll do some cosplaying again. I guess we'll see what happens, but needless to say, it was still a great event and a lot of fun, and I look forward to it every year. So very cool. That's pretty much the update from the Horrorcon. So again, totally worthwhile. I do recommend going down to checking it out, you know. But hopefully I can go with some buddies again, or maybe into it. I just couldn't figure out anybody to go with. I don't have like a long list of friends who are even a little into it. So I'm usually on my own, which does make it tough. I guess I need to make more friends that are into cosplaying and want to hang out and do stuff like that. But anyway, it was an absolute blast going as usual, and a heck of a road trip. You know, that was probably about 7 hours worth of driving. And funny story, I mentioned that I got my radiator fixed back in April, and I had to do that just before we were going to go on this road trip, which is why I got to borrow my sister's car in April to do this trip, which was great because I can make it all the way to Calgary and back on a tank of gas, whereas I'd be filling my Jeep at least a couple times to get the whole thing done. So that was cool, but I did that because I was having these radiator problems, right? So, you know, $1,200 bill later, I got it all fixed and everything was good, and I was ready to drive it this time and just say, heck with it, I'll take my Jeep, you know. And then I got a check engine light that came on, sort of out of the blue, the week leading up, so I was like, that's not good. And I checked it out and thought it could be a few things. Long story short, it went off on its own, and I thought, okay, maybe I could still make the trip, but we'll see. Anyway, my sister still offered her car, God bless her. That was cool, so we used it. Amazing, saved fuel, everything was good, right? So we got back, I switched vehicles, dropped her car off, I got her home, and we were gonna go out to do something. I think we were just gonna go grab some dinner, because it was a long day and nobody felt like cooking. So I get in the car and I can smell coolant. I'm like, no. So before I pull out of the driveway, I go and I check, pop the hood, and there's coolant all over the front end, all around the radiator. And I'm like, we just replaced the rad. Is it defective or something? So I'm checking all my hoses. I don't see any holes, anything, or anywhere where it's leaking from, but it's spraying what looked like from the radiator area, the way like the splash marks were going. So I thought, oh boy, okay, well maybe we got a bad like a defective radiator. It'll still be under warranty at least for I think 3 months or so. So let's get it towed over to the shop rather than drive it and, you know, risk dumping coolant all over the road or overheating or something, right? So again, I got it towed. Luckily I have, you know, AMA service, so it's not brutal to get something towed, but got it over to the shop thinking, okay, it's going to be something to do with that rad, and it should be under warranty, so hopefully I don't have to pay anything, because, you know, I said money's already been tight. It kind of was for the Horrorcon. Otherwise I probably would have got a few more autographs without even giving it much thought. But yeah, the more I thought about it, I'm like, you gotta pull the reins a little, you know, be really picky on where you're spending your dollars. And it's a good thing I did, because the next day when it got looked at, I got a report saying the rad hose blew, and I got a picture of it that they sent, where once they pressurized the system, you could see where it was coming out of this slit that I could not see at all. Otherwise I would have replaced it myself. Probably would have taken, you know, 3 hours of my time and maybe a $80 part or something, you know, and I've done stuff like that plenty of times in the past. But unfortunately this was a terrible problem, because their price on the hose is, I think it was like $110, and then their labor rates to fix it all, and then all the coolant to fill it back up again was another $420. So unfortunately the radiator and coolant and everything cost me a little over $1,600 in the last few months. So that really smashed my budget for the stuff I like to normally get. And it's a bummer too, because there's been some really cool stuff that has dropped lately. Like there was an amazing Cavity Colors Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter release that was done by, of course, Devin Whitehead, and it looks incredible. Probably one of the nicest I've ever seen. So I for sure wanted to get that. I had to pass on it. I've had to pass on all sorts of really, really great designs this year, and that was probably the most painful yet. So that is a bummer. So I'm not looking forward to seeing all of my buddies on social media and whatnot that were able to get that one, because that's going to sting a little, because man, I wish I had a copy of that myself, because it's such a beautiful design. Devin Whitehead is so talented. So unfortunately I missed the boat on that. That was only one of those 3-day release deals that they do. So unfortunately I couldn't get that one. That was a bummer. There's also been a really awesome IT 1990 design that came out from Gutter Garbs, which is just beautiful work. Some of the coolest stuff I've ever seen. They have a beautiful hoodie version of that that I'd really like to pick up. But I noticed Gutter Garbs prices went up not too long ago as well. Their hoodies are quite a bit more money. Their shirts are quite a bit more money than they used to be. Not that they're not worth it, and Gutter Garbs has some of the best customer service in the game. I can vouch for that. Like, they have helped me out a lot in the past. Nothing but amazing things to say about that company. But their stuff is a little more, it's getting to be on the expensive side a bit too, so it's really hard to get a lot of gear. I would love to get that IT design though as well on a hoodie. I have a Jason Lives design that is supposed to be coming very soon from them that they did. That's really nice, and I did pick up a hoodie for that one, so looking forward to showing you that when it does arrive. However, I wasn't able to get that 4 or the IT from Gutter Garbs, like I said, and yeah, that's a bummer. I was really hoping to get those, but it's just, yeah, the car stuff and life and the rest of it has really been kicking the butt lately. Work is still nuts. I still have some more videos I need to edit to get online here for you guys and get uploaded. Again, I do apologize for that. I'm sorry it's taking so long. I'm really trying to get back into it. It's just been so nuts. Everything is so busy. So I just wanted to get on here, let you know how the Calgary Horrorcon went, show you a few of the cool things, and just sort of touch base. And hopefully I'll have another video for you guys soon enough here. But thanks so much for watching. As always, you guys are really appreciated. If you haven't gone to the Calgary Horrorcon before and you're in the area, by all means, check it out. It's totally worth it. It's every year in June. So it's going to be a while before the next one, and it'll be interesting to see who the guests are this year. I didn't get to take as many pictures as I would have liked from the show. Again, we were just kind of busy going around looking at everything and not thinking about taking pictures and stuff. That's another thing that's nice to have when you're there is having somebody who can sort of be your camera person for you, especially if you're going to cosplay, because then, you know, a lot of people usually want pictures and stuff, and it's just a lot more fun that way. So I guess I'll have to set everything up a little better next year so I can take advantage of it a little bit more. But anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you again for another one. Take care, guys.